So being from Canada, I always played hockey every winter and sometimes in the summer. So, if I wanted to do that, I needed to go to school. And I mean, my marks weren't bad. It was just, I always was focused on either hockey or getting home to watch wrestling.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So what came first, hockey or wrestling?
Hockey, definitely when I was a kid. In Canada, I think you can ask any of the Canadians on the roster, most anyways. Your first thing that you're taught is how to skate.
Right.
So I had a pair of skates on. And my dad had me out skating at the rinks when I was like 3 years old. I started playing hockey when I was 4. I played, every year. I never skipped a winter. I played every year. Sometimes I played summer hockey. And played at a pretty decent level when I was in my teens, and ended up playing at a high level when I was around 19 or 20. But I knew that, eventually, I knew that I wasn't going to make it in hockey.
Why is that? I heard you say that somewhere else. Why?
Well, it's just, there were so many guys that I played with that were better than me, and I've seen people and guys years ahead of me, a couple years older than me, that would be so good and not get drafted or not make it anywhere in hockey. And I was like, well, if they're not going, I don't know if I'm going to go. And I always, from the time I was 8 years old, I was always such a fan of pro wrestling. And so as I got to be a teenager, it was like, man, I remember telling my parents, like, man, I really want to try wrestling. And I remember watching WCW Saturday night, and they advertised for the power plant in Atlanta. I was like, you know what? Instead of going to college, I want to go there and do that. And my parents kind of laughed or whatever. But I was kind of half serious.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, that's what I want to do. So yeah, I mean, when I got to like 18 or 19 years old in Canada, when you're 18, you can get drafted to the NHL. When you're 16, you can get drafted to the OHL, which in comparison to like, say, NCAA football, so college football is like the feeding ground to the NFL. While the OHL, you can get drafted when you're 16 and you play till you're about 18 or 19, and you can get drafted out of that to go to the NHL. Well, I was past that. And I knew that, I probably wasn't going to go anywhere in hockey. So I really wanted to focus on wrestling. And that's when I started to, I met Sean and got me in the ring and started doing our thing. And then, there was nothing else but wrestling. I tried going to community college and I took a law and security course to become a correctional officer.
Wow.
And I just totally zoned out. I just was not my heart wasn't in it. My head wasn't in it. It was just at that point in my life, I just remember thinking, I just want to wrestle. I just want to try this and see how I do. And so I did.